Stop scrolling because what I'm about to share will completely change how you see attraction. Most men believe younger women are drawn to looks, money, or charm. They think a clever line or a casual compliment will make her melt. They are wrong, dead wrong. What I'm going to reveal today is something most men will never understand. Something so powerful it will make you wonder why nobody ever told you this before. Younger women are exhausted by shallow words. They're tired of meaningless flattery. They're tired of men seeking attention without knowing what truly matters. And this is where you come in. Because the truth is, if you know how to speak to what she truly cannot resist, you don't just catch her attention. You create a connection that is unforgettable, irresistible, and unlike anything she has ever experienced. I'm going to show you 8 compliments. Yes, 8. But not the kind you've heard 1,000 times before. These are words that strike deeper than the surface. Words that make her feel seen, understood, and drawn to you in a way that defies logic. These are the words that turn ordinary attraction into a force she cannot ignore. And the best part, it's not about being flashy. It's not about pretending. It's not about manipulation. It's about presence, depth, and emotional understanding, qualities most men don't even know exist. So, if you want to understand what makes a younger woman truly respond, if you want to stand out in a way no one else can, and if you're ready to hear the kind of truth most men would kill to know, stay with me until the very end. What I'm about to reveal will make you see attraction, connection, and influence in a completely new way, and it will make her remember you forever. When it comes to attraction, most men think it's about saying the right words, using the right line, or complimenting the right part of her body. That's the easy route. The route everyone else takes. And it's exactly why younger women have grown numb to so many compliments. They hear them all day, every day, and the words lose meaning because they're shallow, predictable, and empty. But what truly makes a younger woman pause, what makes her feel something real, is depth. It's not what you say about her appearance. It's what you notice about her essence, her energy, the subtle parts of her that most people overlook. That is where real power lies, and that is what an older man can offer that no younger man can. Think about it. A younger woman is surrounded by noise. Men tell her she's beautiful, she's hot, she's perfect. But none of those words speak to who she really is. They're superficial. She doesn't need another voice telling her what she already knows, or what she sees every time she looks in the mirror. What she secretly craves is someone who notices what she cannot say about herself. Someone who sees the calm in her movements, the thoughtfulness behind her words, the quiet confidence that others miss. That is a compliment she cannot resist, not because it flatters her ego, but because it validates her reality. When an older man says there's something peaceful about the way you move, it's not just a line, it's a recognition of who she is. It shows that he observes, he understands, he respects the essence that makes her unique. The difference between shallow flattery and genuine recognition is intent. Shallow flattery comes from wanting something. It's transactional. You say something to get a reaction, a smile, or a kiss. Depth, however, comes from awareness. When you see a woman and honor who she truly is, you're not performing, you're seeing her. Humans, especially younger women, respond to being genuinely seen because it awakens something that has been starved in today's world. The sense that someone notices the real them, parts that are usually ignored. This is why older men have an advantage. Experience brings the ability to slow down, to observe, to appreciate subtlety. A younger man may notice her curves, her outfit, or her laugh, but an older man sees the way she carries herself, the decisions she makes quietly, the effect her presence has on a room. When you voice that recognition, when you articulate her subtle strength, you don't just impress her, you connect with her on a level she has never felt before. That connection is magnetic because it bypasses surface attraction entirely. It reaches something deeper, something rare, intimate, and unforgettable. And it's not about being poetic or rehearsed. It's about being present. Observe her. Notice patterns in her behavior, the calm in her gestures, the intelligence behind her choices. Then sincerely acknowledge it when you say, "I like how you think," or "There's a calm in you that I haven't seen in anyone else." Those words resonate because they're rooted in observation and truth. They're not meant to get a reaction. They're meant to honor her. And when a younger woman feels truly honored for who she is, not just for how she looks, she remembers it. She carries it with her. She feels drawn to the man who sees her in ways no one else does. The modern world teaches women to expect noise and distraction. It teaches men to chase what's visible, to compliment what's obvious. But what stands out, what captures attention deeply, is depth. Depth requires courage, patience, and awareness. Depth means caring more about understanding her than impressing her. That's the power of an older man who speaks with intention. You're not just giving a compliment, you're validating her being. And in that validation, you create a magnetic force that cannot be ignored. Stop chasing reactions. Stop relying on empty words. Start noticing what others miss. Speak from observation, from respect, from awareness. When you do, you'll see that a younger woman responds not to the compliments she expects, but to the ones she never imagined she would hear. Depth is rare, and when it touches her, it leaves a mark no superficial praise ever could. The most irresistible words a man can give aren't the ones that appeal to her eyes. They're the ones that touch her soul. Be that man. See her fully, speak from truth, and watch a connection grow that surpasses anything most men ever dream of. Younger women are constantly bombarded by frantic, chaotic, or insincere energy. Men approach loudly, overconfident, or desperate to impress. In this noise, their instincts are sharp. They can smell pretense. They sense urgency. They notice when someone is chasing them for the wrong reasons. What truly captures their attention isn't flashiness. It's the sense of safety a man provides. Emotional safety is not a cliché. It's a quiet power, one of the most irresistible qualities an older man can offer. Think about it. A younger woman spends most of her life navigating attention that is transactional. Attention that values her looks, what she can give, or how she performs. That attention is temporary and hollow. But when a calm, experienced man approaches her with presence and understanding, he communicates something far deeper. She doesn't have to perform, she can simply exist, and her existence is enough. When you make her feel seen without pressure, when you offer respect without expectation, you're speaking to a primal part of her that craves stability and recognition. That is where real attraction begins. Emotional safety is irresistible because it bypasses superficiality. Words like, "I feel calm when I'm around you," or "You make people feel comfortable just by being yourself," are not ordinary compliments. They acknowledge her impact on the world and validate her identity in a way that goes far beyond appearances. When she realizes that your attention is genuine, when she senses that your admiration comes without hidden motives, she begins to relax. She starts to trust, and she begins to notice a connection that most men never achieve. There is also a psychological element to this that cannot be overlooked. Humans are wired to seek safety emotionally, physically, and mentally. For a younger woman, the modern dating world is often full of uncertainty, instability, and emotional manipulation. When an older man demonstrates calmness, stability, and thoughtful presence, he bypasses her defenses. He doesn't need to impress her with games, money, or bravado. He impresses her by creating a space where she can lower her guard and feel understood. That is power, that is attraction, that is magnetic. But emotional safety is not passive. It demands awareness and intention. It requires listening more than speaking, observing more than performing, and responding with authenticity rather than expectation. When a younger woman senses that a man notices her thoughts, moods, and subtle cues, she begins to experience something transformative. She begins to feel, sometimes for the first time, that she can be fully herself and still be appreciated. That appreciation does not come from shallow admiration. It comes from recognizing her complexity, her contradictions, and her individuality. In these moments, the connection deepens, trust forms, and attraction becomes undeniable. Emotional safety also intensifies the effect of every other compliment you give. When a woman feels safe with you, your words resonate more deeply. Statements like, "Your presence shifts the energy," or "I admire the calm in you," are no longer just words. They become experiences she feels in her body, in her nervous system, not just in her mind. And when she experiences that, she remembers it. She carries it with her long after the conversation ends, long after other men have tried and failed to leave an impression. Here is the secret that most men never understand. Emotional safety is alluring because it is rare. Younger women are conditioned to expect performance, manipulation, or instability from men. They are not conditioned to expect calm, understanding, or thoughtful presence. That rarity is what makes it magnetic. That rarity is what opens her heart, keeps her attention, and draws her energy toward you effortlessly. So understand this clearly. Making a younger woman feel emotionally safe is not about reciting the right lines or complimenting her looks. It is about your energy, your presence, and your ability to observe without judgment, to listen without interrupting, and to validate without expecting anything in return. When you master this, you are no longer just another man in her world. You become a force she cannot ignore, a presence that draws her in naturally, a connection she will never forget. Attraction is not about impressing her. It is about allowing her to relax into herself in your presence. Be the man who creates that space. Speak with awareness, act with intention, and notice the subtle ways she responds. When a younger woman feels emotionally safe with you, you are no longer just seen, you are unforgettable. In the world of attraction, most men stay on the surface. They see a woman and focus only on what is visible, her appearance, her style, her smile. These things matter, of course, but they are only skin deep. If all you do is compliment what she already knows, you are adding to the noise that surrounds her every day. Younger women are constantly told they are beautiful, hot, or desirable. Yet these words rarely make them pause or feel truly seen. What resonates, what surprises them, what makes them remember you is when you notice the parts of them that are unspoken, unperformed, and authentic. That is the power of validation, and it is one of the strongest tools an older man can have. Validation of her essence is not about saying what she wants to hear. It is about recognizing the qualities that define her character, the things that are part of who she is, not what she presents to the world. When you say, "I like how you think," or "I admire the way you set boundaries for yourself," you acknowledge her agency, her intelligence, and her integrity. You are not commenting on her looks, her body, or her clothing. You are recognizing her being. When a woman feels that her being is truly seen, she experiences a rare form of connection that many have never offered before. Consider the psychology behind this. Humans crave recognition. We want to know that someone sees our inner world, our values, and the effort we put into navigating life. Younger women, especially, live in a world where constant performance is expected. They must be attractive, fun, confident, and agreeable all at once. It is exhausting. When an older man notices her essence, he gives her a break from that pressure. He communicates without words that she doesn't need to perform for him. That who she is naturally is enough. That is magnetic. That is unforgettable. Validation of essence also shows respect in a way ego-driven compliments never can. If all you ever tell a woman is that she looks good, she may appreciate it briefly but will categorize it as superficial. When you recognize her discipline, intelligence, or authenticity behind her choices, you communicate something far deeper. You are saying, "I notice you. I understand you. I value you beyond what you show the world." That kind of respect is intoxicating because it is rare. Most men do not have the awareness, maturity, or emotional intelligence to compliment someone on what truly defines them. This is where older men naturally excel. Experience teaches patience, observation, and depth. A younger man may rush to comment on what he sees on the surface, but an older man sees patterns, values, and character. He notices how she carries herself under pressure, how she manages her emotions, and how she treats others. When he recognizes these qualities sincerely, he is not flattering, he is acknowledging reality. And when a younger woman experiences this, she cannot help but be drawn in. The beauty of this approach is that it builds a connection independent of charm, manipulation, or shallow attraction. Validating her essence creates a space where she feels deeply understood. She begins to trust your perspective, to feel comfortable revealing more of herself, and to associate your presence with authenticity and depth. That is a level of attraction beyond physical desire. It is emotional, intellectual, and profoundly magnetic. Moreover, this kind of validation leaves a lasting mark. She will forget generic compliments, obvious flattery, and empty lines. What she will remember is the man who truly saw her, who noticed the subtle brilliance behind her calm, the thoughtfulness behind her words, the strength behind her boundaries. That memory becomes an anchor, a mental and emotional touchstone she returns to long after the interaction ends. Understand this clearly. If your aim is not just to impress but to connect, your words must reflect awareness, understanding, and genuine recognition. Speak to her mind, her choices, and her values. Notice the discipline, courage, and intelligence that define her. Speak from observation, not desire. When you validate her essence, you step beyond shallow attraction into a depth that is rare, compelling, and unforgettable. Younger women do not respond to words that stroke their ego. They respond to words that honor their being. Be the man who sees her essence, not just her appearance. Speak to what truly defines her, and you will form a connection that reaches far beyond ordinary interaction. A connection that lingers, resonates, and cannot be overlooked. There is a basic truth about attraction that many men fail to grasp. It is not the words themselves that draw her in, but the presence that carries them. A younger woman does not react simply to compliments, charm, or clever lines. She reacts to energy. She responds to a man who occupies his space with confidence, awareness, and genuineness. This is the power of presence, something that cannot be faked, memorized, or bought. It is something earned through self-awareness, emotional control, and the ability to fully live in the moment. Think about the times in your life when someone truly held your attention. Not through flattery, not through acting, but through their very being. You notice their calmness, their focus, and the way they make everything around them feel more grounded. That is the effect a man with presence has on a younger woman. He does not chase, perform, or seek approval. He exists fully, and in that existence he communicates a strength and authenticity that is almost irresistible. Presence starts with awareness. When you are truly present, you pay attention to her completely, not just to her words, but also to what she leaves unsaid. You notice small changes in her tone, fleeting expressions in her eyes, and little gestures that reveal her mood and intentions. You do not rush to fill pauses or respond impulsively. You observe, reflect, and respond thoughtfully. This kind of attentiveness shows her that she is noticed in a way that goes beyond surface level attention. She feels that you are not distracted, that you are not acting, and that your energy is aligned with honesty rather than mere desire. The beauty of being present is that it enhances everything else you do. When you compliment her, it lands deeper. When you recognize her essence, it resonates more. When you create a sense of emotional safety, it becomes more meaningful. A simple line like, "Time feels slower when you are around," is more than a compliment. It is a reflection of your awareness and your ability to fully exist with her in the moment. It tells her that her presence matters, that it has an effect on you, and that she has made an impression that goes beyond surface level attraction. That is the subtle power that younger women cannot resist. Presence also communicates stability and self-control. In a world full of chaos and constant distractions, a man who is fully present becomes an anchor. His calmness and focus show that he is grounded, that he does not get easily shaken by external pressures, and that he can handle complex situations with poise. This is deeply attractive because it sharply contrasts with the confusion and superficiality surrounding her daily life. She instinctively senses that being with you creates a safe space where she can simply be herself without judgment or pressure. It is crucial to understand that presence is not about dominating the conversation or trying to control her. It is about embodying a state of being that shows confidence, patience, and understanding. It demonstrates through your energy that you are comfortable in your own skin and capable of appreciating hers without neediness or expectation. Presence is the language of unspoken connection. It is what she senses in her body long before her mind consciously realizes it. The effect of presence is subtle but extremely powerful. Younger women are drawn to men who are alive, aware, and engaged in the current moment. They notice when a man is distracted, seeking approval, or performing for effect. They respond intensely when a man is genuine, calm, and observant. Presence communicates that you are someone worth noticing, not for superficial reasons, but because of the depth of your energy and the authenticity of your being. This is the difference between ordinary men and those who leave a lasting impression. Presence cannot be faked. Compliments without genuine presence are hollow. Recognition without presence is forgettable. Emotional safety without presence is temporary. But when your words, actions, and energy all align in full awareness, you create a magnetic force that is impossible to ignore. You become more than just another voice in a noisy world. You become an experience, a moment, a force that she will remember long after your interaction ends. Attraction is not about what you say, it is about how you exist in her presence. Be aware, grounded, and fully engaged. Let your energy communicate louder than words. Let your presence honor, validate, and amplify everything she is. When a younger woman senses that you are fully present, that your energy is honest and authentic, she does not just listen. She feels, she responds, she remembers. The most unforgettable men are not necessarily the loudest, richest, or flashiest. They are the ones whose presence speaks before their words, whose energy draws attention without effort, and whose authenticity leaves a permanent mark. Mastering your presence allows you to discover a type of attraction that surpasses beauty, desire, or superficial charm. Be that man and you will become unforgettable.